Hey guys, welcome to Conversations in the Garden, where I give you the seed to sow in your garden. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about reaping what you sow. And I know when you think about reaping what you sow, you think about it being an action, what you do into the world, you get back. But it also applies to us when it regards to self-development, things within ourselves. And you know, I'm all about self-development and reaping what you sow internally. What does that mean? Being intentional in our actions, being intentional with our mindsets, being intentional with our behavior, all of those things fall into place. So get comfy, get your tea, get your coffee, and let's have a conversation. Hey y'all, we are back and we're talking about reaping what you sow in regards to self-development. Now I know when we talk about reaping what you sow with what we put, the actions we do in the world, but how is that applicable for us in our life? Don't worry about it, I got you. Let's get the notes, get your pen and paper ready. I got my notes ready because I'm gonna set you up for success. Now, reaping what you sow, whether positive or negative, it's gonna come back to us. So we have to ensure we got the tools, right? Making intentional actions. What does that look like? Healthy habits, personal growth, and achieving our goals. When we put a thing out there, we want to make sure the thing that we put out there is healthy, is happy, is good, because we want to reap that back. So we have to be very careful about what we sow. I am very intentional in regards to the garden, putting good seeds. No matter how good my fertile soil is, I have to ensure that the seeds are good too. The same thing goes for you with your mindset and your attitude. What kind of mindset you got? What kind of mindset you got? What kind of attitude you got? If you're walking around here disgruntled, you don't want to change, you're set in your ways. I know you heard the term, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Yes, you can. You have to be willing and wanting to shift your mindset so that you can have a different reaction or a different outcome. That's the goal. Having a different mindset and having a different attitude. Now, I know people don't want to learn new things sometimes because it's the comfort zone that I see a lot of people dive into. It's the comfort zone. It feels good. They like it here. This is what they know. This is the behavior they've taken on. But how does that work out for you? It doesn't, because all you're going to do is yield the same results. So being willing to change your mindset, being willing to change your attitude is imperative, because again, we want to reap a new harvest. We want to reap a new abundance, and it's imperative in that manner. Having the right mindset and attitude is important when you're doing self-development, right? When I started this gardening journey, you would have never told me that it would be to the level that it is. But in my mind, I knew I wanted something that was not going to only be for my family, but my community. Now, it takes a lot of patience, yes. It takes a lot of work, yes, and dedication, but the end results are top notch, right? So believing in yourself to know that you could do the thing, believing in yourself again, because sometimes we get stuck, right? Sometimes we compare ourselves to other people. Sometimes we get in a rut, whatever the thing is, but changing our mindset and our attitude is imperative for growth. But through dedication, hard work, you can overcome those strongholds. Because let's talk about strongholds. Strongholds are things that hold you back from doing the thing that you were destined to do. And when you have strongholds getting in the way, like perfectionism, all right? Perfectionism equals stagnation, because then you don't go anywhere. Or you get in your head about it, or you don't feel like you're worthy of doing it. We got to get ahead of those strongholds. Focus on the solution and not the problem. Let me say that again. We're going to focus on the solution and not the problem. Sometimes those problems seems like mountains, when in actuality they're this big, right? But we look at it from a different perspective, and so therefore we kind of chicken ourselves out from doing the thing because we think the thing is big. But again, we got to get ahead of that so that we can find the solution for those problems. But be imperative about having the right mindset so that you can be present and do the thing. Now let's talk about consistency and patience. One thing I know about a garden is you have to develop patience. I cannot put a seed in the ground today and expect a harvest tomorrow, meaning collard greens and corn is just going to pop up. No, because gardening is not a place, it's a journey. And the same thing applies for us as we're growing and we're developing. We got to have patience. Now, consistency and patience, just as crops take time to grow, self-development is a gradual process too. Regularly engaging in self-reflection, setting goals, making small, consistent changes, those are what's needed to have significant results in our life. Now, when it comes down to patience, the older we get, I know our patience grows thin, but it's imperative if we want to do a new thing. And you would have never told me I'll be out here gardening and growing, but here we are. But I love it because what it's teaching me so much, because you're getting the coming lives from the gardens, right? This garden is teaching me this every day. Now, patience is crucial when it comes down to results. Not always being visible right now, but we have to trust that we have to understand that it's a process and it does not happen overnight. And eventually it'll pay off. The next thing when it comes down to reaping what you sow is taking responsibility and accountability. Ooh, I know I touched a nerve on that one. Taking responsibility and accountability, because it works hand in hand when you're doing this thing. We don't want to take ownership for our crap, but we got to, guys, in order for us to grow, in order for us to evolve, us to go to the next level, we got to take ownership and own our stuff. Because I'm going to tell you something, it don't feel good. Trust me, it doesn't. But I know that when you start saying, you know what, I'm going to be true to myself and I'm going to start getting up early, or I'm going to start listening to junk TV or listening to what gossiping or whatever that thing is that you feel that is holding you back. Responsibility and accountability and taking ownership for our actions is essential for the outcome or the harvest that we want to have. Now, once we recognize that we are responsible for our choices, the better choices we'll make. Let me say that again. Once we recognize and take responsibility for our choices, the better ones we'll make. The awareness motivates us and takes us and makes us more intentional going forward. That makes sense? I hope I got y'all. Now, on the topic of consistency and patience, remember these two words, vision and purpose. Having a clear vision will motivate you to be consistent with your actions towards the goals so you can focus on your journey, but you got to enjoy it. One of my friends like to say this all the time. She has to see it until she see it. Be consistent and see it until you see it. Now let's talk about learning from our mistakes. The journey of self-development is always involving setbacks and failures. But instead of looking at it from that perspective, we can see it as a way for us to learn and grow. In my garden, it's a whole lot of trial and error. Trust me, I didn't wake up just knowing how to do this thing called gardening. It was a lot of mistakes made. Learning where to put bell peppers in full sun instead of partial shade. Learning that some potatoes like to be in shade versus full sun. It's all a learning process. And the same thing applies for us when we were growing up. We made mistakes. Our parents chastised us, and we just learned not to do it again. We have to stop beating ourselves up and just look at it as a way for us to learn from those experiences and analyzing what went wrong and ways how we can approach it in a different manner so that we can put better seeds into the ground for the future. Learning from our mistakes. In summary, when you reap what you sow, it serves as a reminder that personal growth is influenced by our thoughts, our actions, and our attitudes. And by consciously investing in those things, you will have a successful future all the way. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Apply this to your mind, your body, and your soul, and I'll see you at the next episode. All right, y'all, bye.